Well, back to our breaking news now. Another home in Maroubra has been targeted with anti-Semitic graffiti close to a school that was recently firebombed. Starting to sound like broken records, aren't we? There's been another anti-Semitic attack, would you believe? Joining us live now is the Australia, Israel and Jewish Affairs Council Executive Director, Dr. Colin Rubenstein. Colin, first of all, let's get your reaction to this new attack. What do you think of it?
Look, it's appalling. I mean, already the news yesterday was extremely concerning. This represents a massive escalation, and it's continuing. And there's great apprehension in the community. At the same time, we're not going to be intimidated, and there's great resolve to deal with this. And at last, we're seeing top priority being accorded by law enforcement, and certainly with the backing of political leadership. At last.
Why do you think this? Sorry, Colin, thought you'd finished there. Why do you think this just keeps on happening? I do want to separate the caravan attack or alleged attack. This graffiti just keeps on happening despite, tough messaging from state and federal levels.
Well, frankly, because this wasn't stepped on at the outset. The steps on the Opera House, which everybody correctly refers to, should have led to arrest then and there. The bad messaging was sent that this could be tolerated. This has become normalised. This hatred that we see on the streets, the incitement, and worse, and the violence. It snowballed. And we've seen a record over, the last basically 15 months of a lack of resolve and a lack of commitment and a lack of conviction in terms of lack of political leadership. And that's reflected until recently in the lack of adequate law enforcement. To say this is totally un-Australian, this is against the core values of our society, of our multicultural society, the core of which depends on commitment to the core values of society, mutual respect and tolerance. And we haven't seen the appropriate leadership and enforcement that I think most Australians expect. And enough is enough. We're fed up with that. And the climate has been created where this has become normalised. Now, fortunately, we've seen a turnaround here. We are seeing now the top priority accorded to law enforcement, I think, which we can all be grateful for, and hopefully there's some success. But we need a lot more action, on several fronts, in terms of political commitment, and we've seen a climate created, unfortunately, with the one-sided attack on Israel by this federal government that has also led to a climate of sort of equivalence here and normalisation of this behaviour. So, unintended, inadvertent, but nonetheless, this sort of climate is one conducive to the continuation of these appalling
I just want to get to this caravan that was filled with explosives apparently set for Jewish targets. I mean, graffiti's one thing. A caravan full of explosives is certainly another. And when police say this could well have been a mass casualty event, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, that's absolutely appalling. I mean, this is something we've never seen in Australia that we know and love so well. And we've been calling what's been happening in our community terrorism for some time now. The use of violence to achieve political outcomes, there's no doubt about it. But here, blind Freddie can see that this is absolute full-on terrorism that's completely shocking, and it's a threat to law and order and cohesion in this society, big time. And at last, of course, the authorities are according to it the priority that it absolutely requires.
So when police, and I spoke to the Premier about this a little bit earlier today, and we certainly understand sometimes when things aren't made public for operational reasons. That's what they're saying for this one. But given it happened 7, 8, 9, 10 days ago and it wasn't made public, do you accept that?
Look, I think in the circumstances you have to. We don't know enough about it. I don't believe that if there are a clear and present danger and threat to individuals or organisations, the police and the authorities wouldn't have acted appropriately. So I think it's an active, ongoing investigation, and I accept what they say in this regard.
Okay, that's a fair point. Hey, Colin, thanks for your time this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Peter.